Welcome to today's Daily Awesome. Should I get back together with my ex? Before we dive into this one, we are currently live on a men's development excellence call. This is an awesome call, man. This is so good. If you guys were on this call, it is April 12th and it's almost midnight on our call, and there's 13 people on here. This is amazing. And we're talking about it because we're working through it. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be on these calls, you got to be a member. So you got to get our membership. Now, if you don't want to do the paid membership, which gets you on the calls and all the different coaching and cool stuff, this is great. You should check it out. Just check it. Follow the links down below. But definitely follow the link down below specifically for this podcast that takes you to where you can see the full video and download the audio and download our PDF for the month of April, The Way of the Sexual Man. That is 5 things that are just going to help you out, get focused, get your drive, get together. The reason why we made The Way of the Sexual Man almost 2 years ago was literally because, no, actually 2 years ago, was because guys were asking about these things on the calls that we do. We've been having these calls since 2009. I've been coaching since 2006. And it's just, man, it's great. We have such a wealth of things. Now, if you want to join us, there's the free board, Austin Men's Development. You can find that link on that link down below as well. Just go there, sift around on the AMD page, and then also subscribe to the Daily Awesome. You might be listening to this on the Sexual Life Podcast. Find the Daily Awesome podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe. We want to build it up and build up these things daily and all this sort of stuff and build a better relationship. Anyway, guys, this is an awesome call. Like, we are talking about such a crazy thing. And this started off on the Men's Development Excellence, our private board, earlier yesterday or today or something like that, where we were talking about, should I get back together with my ex? And this guy was talking about his ex-wife, and they've been divorced for a year. And it's a crazy thing. And universally, the advice that he got was no, why would you do this? This makes no sense. We had like chiming in for another coach, Adam Goodson. Shout out to you. Amazing guy. You should look into him. And he gave awesome advice breaking this down on why you shouldn't do it. You know, I was in there, the other guys on the board were in there, and we're basically saying, like, this serves no purpose. Like, why would you want to do this? Right. But here's the thing. We talk about the truth here. We talk about the reality here. And although that advice comes from wisdom that I've gone through and wisdom that Adam and the 40 other people who messaged on it, because it's a pretty active thread, that advice is something that is right, but it's something that we almost never do. And so I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this phenomenon because we've been talking about this for about an hour with the guy who asked the question. And it's great, man. We're getting like so into it, is that you're broken up with your ex. And let's say you were in love. Let's say you were married. Let's say you just hooked up and were only together for a month. And let's say you had a 2 or 5 year relationship and you've been in love. What happens in your relationships is those go down. You guys are too close together. You know, sex drips off. You know, you're not having it as much. You build up resentment. You build up contempt. But see, here's the crazy thing, is that when you separate, you guys hate each other, you go through a divorce, or maybe you don't hate each other, whatever the fuck it is, you split up the finances, but both of you guys get lonely. And both of you guys just want to be around the next person. You just want to be around. You don't want to sleep with them. You know it's a bad idea. You've talked with your friends. You just want to be around them. And then there's this thing where you're around, you go, well, we could just go hang out or something. You know, I was mad, but, you know, let's just hang out. And there's this level of comfort, right? And again, just to call it that is one thing, but to talk really how we're talking now, right, on this call about it and getting real about it is important, because we got to know when we're there as men. We got to know when we're there so we make a decision, all right? And we'll get to that because it's not an either or thing, right? It's a tough thing. If we just make a black and white rule and you're putting that emotional tension, you'll break, man. You're not gonna know what to do. And when you break, you're gonna think you fucked up, and then you're gonna think you screwed up, and then you'll have shame, and then you think you can't come back. But no. We can fuck up. You can fuck up. And especially if you're in these groups, you're gonna fuck up. You're allowed to fuck up. We're gonna warn you. We might tell you did fuck up afterwards. You might not fuck up. You might be right. But you have to be able to really be yourself and do it and tell the real story of man. So this thing happens where you guys end up sleeping together. And this is the process, man, especially when you have that loneliness, when you're looking for that heart, when you're trying to get out of pain, when you've gone through different relationships, or you've had sex. In this scenario, he's had sex with a bunch of girls. He has abundance, man. He has a lot of women, but the sex isn't the same. The sex is good, but the sex isn't the same. It's not the same as his ex, because his ex is going to fucking do other stuff. She's going to connect to him more, and it's beautiful. And this thing happens when we're in that emotional mode, seeking sex again, that men need to talk about, where we're driven. We're in that mode where our bodies are going, man, I want to fuck. I want to hook up with you. I want these things to happen. Da, 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 da. And, you know, you just hung out passively, but you came together hardcore. And when you come together hardcore, the moment that is most gratifying for you as a man, if you're searching for that emotional hunger, and again, why I'm making this podcast live and open to the public, is because we as men need to talk about shit like this. That's the point where you're going to feel good. That's the point where she's going to tell you she loves you again, where it could work. And when your dick's inside of her, when you're pumping away and she's caressing you and she's everything that was good that you remembered her as a wife that was beautiful. And man, there's nothing more powerful, more gratifying that you're going to feel in that. But then as soon as you blow your load, it's done. And it's back to, why did I do this? Oh my God, why did I pollute? And especially if you're a guy getting laid, you know, because he is, and he has access to it. Why did I fucking, you know, pollute my dick with her pussy juice again? And Jesus, man, I'm out, and oh fuck, da 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 da. And you say later, and it's awkward, and then she loves you again, and then you're like, well, maybe, I don't know, and you get this point of confusion. But we as men need to talk about this phenomenon so that we know what we're thinking, and we know what's common, and we know what's regular. You are going, if you're going to have relationships with people, and if you have a lot of relationships and you have a life of sex, you're going to get back together with your ex when you shouldn't. And you need to know and be prepared that you can have a place to talk to get your head straight and not be alone and not be stuck in there with new emotions, new feelings, and all these different things of her coming at you now in a different way, of you then comparing yourself and her and your relationship to her, that with your relationship to other women, you get all confused about that shit. And then you react and make bad decisions. You got to come to a place where you can express. We all have done this. And I am steadfast. No, I'm not going to do it. And it's funny because Gary, he said on the calls, he's like, man, I've known Steve for 9 years now. I've known his coach for 9 years. You know what his advice was when to fuck your ex? It used to be, do it. Why? Because I used to do it all the time. And see, I'm one of those guys that doesn't learn right away. I learned the hard way. But in learning the hard way, we can talk about this in another situation. That's how I've learned all the great things about my life. And where I've seen with other people who teach or do self-help or are dating coaches and so on, they haven't learned those things. So, hey, man, sometimes you got to fuck up. Sometimes you got to go for it. But see, the only way sometimes to learn, and this is kind of the case in this, is like, dude, you got to drink your poison. You got to drink your poison because you got to learn. You got to walk that road and you got to do it. And you should do it. Because stop fucking torturing yourself and thinking about it just like this rumination over and over again. Oh man, I'm doing this, blah, 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 blah. The sun came up. These things are happening and the girl called me and this crazy chick's texting me. Here's this meme and the people at work are saying this. And man, I want to fuck up. Jesus Christ. God, my ex-wife, I just want to fuck her. I just want to fuck her. And you talk yourself into it and you say, man, no, man, it won't be emotional. It's totally cool. I can handle it. It's good. But the only thing that's going to shut you up is you doing it. And you doing it to the point where you exhaust yourself and hopefully you don't get too many consequences until you realize you don't need to do it. See, if you desire something and you want something and everybody's telling you that it's bad and it's not good for you and you can't listen to them, and you won't shut up. The best thing that you can do is go for it. The best thing that you can do is go for it because that is going to be the teacher that's finally going to calm you down to have the stern hand and say, you know what? I'll give you everything you want, but it ain't working. And then finally, you'll be humble enough to actually listen. All right? And guess what? Here's the benefit of it. If we're all wrong in telling you this advice, then you had a great time. So the moral of the story is look, why do you want your ex? Why are you trying to fuck your ex? This is dumb. This doesn't make any sense. And this doesn't make sense to anybody who isn't in that forest, looking around for whatever they're looking for. But when you're in the forest, you can't see the forest of the trees and you're blind to it. You got the goggles on. You got the love goggles on. You got the pain feeling and fuck, all of a sudden the woman that's pain is calling you and you're going, shit, man, that ain't pain. That's love. Fuck. I want to feel that. I want to feel that comfort. I want to feel that place. I want to feel my sense of identity as a man. Who wouldn't pass that up? It's a guarantee to feeling good because you can't think through what's going to happen afterwards. Right? See, we all think that's a good idea. we all as human beings go for it. We've got to start building the dialogue of reality of when people do go for these things. Now, that all being said, look, this is the importance of community. This is why we do this. Man, go to the link down below. Sign up on the Austin Men's Development Board. It's for free. It's a free group. It comes with free group problems, but you can get some help there. And there's people that are active there that are kicking ass. It's amazing. You'll get awesome advice, right? And if you want to step it up, and the reason why we did that, the reason why we have this podcast, why we have the Daily Awesome, is so you out there can get to know as a man, if you want to look for the answers in your dating life, in your business life, how to be a better person, how to be authentic, how to really be it. There's a lot of, shitty self-help out there. There's a lot of self-help that isn't making sense. And we're saying we have a community. Be a part of it. Because if you get anything from this, what you need to know when you're walking on the edge, you can walk off and you won't totally fuck yourself up. You can come to us, replug in, and adjust. And I'll tell you this, man, I've made tons of mistakes in my life, more than other people. And if you listen to this podcast a lot, you'll get to know those mistakes. Those are all the biggest mistakes, most horrific, that fucked up my life, that had consequences of people all around me, were the greatest things because they had me learn the lessons that I lived by spiritually, the lessons that I lived by morally. And they taught me how to clean up the messes that I've made around me that affected everybody. And that was beautiful. I would have never gotten to the points where I find peace, sanity, love in my life, relationships in my life, how to treat my body without destroying and wrecking all of those things. There's a part, and just not to tangent off too much, just join the Austin Men's Development Board, all that, our membership, blah, 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 click the links, the way of the sexual man, all that sort of stuff. And it's great, man. I don't mean to downplay it, but I mean, I love my body. I'm good with my body. I went to sleep every night, probably from the years of 26 to 28, maybe 25 to 28, 29, somewhere around there, where I just hoped I wouldn't wake up. I didn't want to kill myself, but I was so strung out on drugs, so strung out on whatever, that it was like, you know what? If I die, I'd be better off. I know what it's like to live in that pain. And I'm not trying to say it to be like, oh, da, 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 da. But at some point, I was desperate enough after making that decision and choice nightly that I wanted to stop, and to work myself out of that. It gave me a life that I have now. Same thing for relationships, same thing for sex, that I all fucked up and dug graves with separately. It's a lot of miles on me. And man, it taught me the best stuff. Don't be afraid to fuck up. You know where to go to fix it. And if you don't want to fix it with us, you can probably find someplace else to fix it, but we have a group here for you. In any case, thank you so much for listening. I love coaching. I love working with people. I love working with these guys on the call. It's almost midnight and we're burning, man. It's been almost 4 hours that we've been on this thing. What a better fucking thing to do. With a little bit of gratitude, you can change everything. All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.